Hey sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s for the month of May 2024. For the 1950s, there are a couple of interesting cards that made the list. For the 1960s, there's a pretty diverse range of cards that made the list. And for the 1970s, there are a few that hit new record high sales. So let's go check them out. Let's start off with the cards from the 1950s. At number 10, we have this 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 30th for $7,272. It was an auction. There were 43 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $5,604. The record high sale, though, was $11,500 back in September of 2022 through PWCC. At number 9, we have the 1952 Topps Joe Nuxhall in a PSA 8. What a great looking card. This one sold on May 29th. For $7,413. This is a high number series card. It was an auction. There was only one bid. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $7,306. The record high sale was $8,400 back in April of 2023 through REA. Now, in this PSA 8 grade, this is one of 29 graded copies. There are only 5 that have been graded a PSA 9, and none have been graded a PSA 10. At number 8, we have the 1951 Bowman Willie Mays in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 7th for $8,779. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $8,014, but this particular sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 4 was $20,000 back in February of 2022 through PWCC. Now, there were 2 other significant 51 Bowman Willie Mays sales in May. One was a PSA 3.5 that sold on May 28th for $7,700, and then a PSA 3 copy that sold on May 4th for $7,372. At number 7, we have the 1956 Topps Mickey Mantle Grayback in a PSA 9 off-center. This one sold on May 23rd for $10,250. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a qualifier in a 9 is $8,562. This particular sale was not in VCP's database, but would represent a new record high sale for a 9 qualifier. The previous high was $8,562 back in February of 2022 through Memory Lane, and it happened to be the same exact card that sold back in 2022. At number 6, we have the 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson in a PSA 4.5. This one sold on May 18th for $10,999. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a 4.5 is $10,300. The record high sale was $19,800 back in August of 2022 through Heritage. Now, there was one other significant 52 Topps Jackie Robinson sale in May. This one a PSA 4 that sold on May 17th for $8,007. At number 5, we have this 1954 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card in a PSA 6. This one sold on May 3rd for $12,000. It was a buy it now. Now, the current VCP average price for a PSA 6 is $8,886, but this particular sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 6 was $18,143 back in March of 2021 through Huggins and Scott. Now, there were two other significant Hank Aaron rookie card sales in May. One was a PSA 6.5 that sold on May 26th for $10,000, and then a PSA 6 on May 26th for $8,119. At number 4, we have this 1952 Burke Ross Willie Mays in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 31st for $12,252. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $10,500, but this sale again was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was close to this sale here at $12,600 back in May of 2023 through PWCC. Now, in a PSA 8, there have been 33 graded copies. Only 7 have received a PSA 9 grade, and there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the 52 Burke Ross Willie Mays. At number 3, we have this 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8, one of my favorite Mickey Mantle cards. This one sold on May 1st for $12,850. It was an auction. There were 52 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $11,860. However, the record high sale was $20,048 back in September of 2022 through Memory Lane. There was one other significant 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle sale in May, another PSA 8. This one sold on May 22nd for $11,155. At number 2, we have this 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle in an authentic grade. As you can see, there's some paper loss in pretty much all 4 corners. This one sold on May 21st for $28,000. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for an authentic 52 Topps Mickey Mantle is $30,993, but this particular sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for an authentic 52 Topps Mickey Mantle was $81,600 back in May of 2023 through Golden Auction. Now, there was one other significant 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. This one actually got a PSA 1, although the eye appeal is much less than that other previous authentic graded copy. This one sold on May 28th for $20,502. And at number 1, we have this 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle in a PSA 5. This one sold on May 23rd for $28,917. It was an auction. There were 74 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 5 is $22,678. So this one sold quite a bit above the current VCP average price, but the eye appeal on this card is outstanding for a PSA 5. The record high sale, though, was $55,100 back in March of 2021 through eBay. Now, there were 2 other significant 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle sales in May. One was a 4 miscut that sold on May 4th for $17,995, and a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 16th for $12,500. All right, on to the cards from the 1960s. At number 10, we have this 1961 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 8.5. This one sold on May 3rd for $4,000. It was a best offer. This is the current VCP average price and represents a new record high sale for a PSA 8.5. The previous high was $2,601 back in July of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. Now, there have been 18 graded a PSA 8.5, 54 have received a PSA 9 grade, but there has not been any PSA 10 graded copies of this 1961 Topps Hank Aaron card. At number 9, we have the 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson rookie card in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 14th for $4,109. It was an auction. There were 47 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $3,819, but the record high sale was $6,950 back in March of 2021 through eBay. At number 8, we have this 1968 O-Pee-Chee Nolan Ryan rookie card in a PSA 5.5. This one sold on May 2nd for $4,262. It was an auction. There were 26 bids. The current VCP average price is this sale price here of $4,262, and it represents the only recorded sale in VCP's database of a PSA 5.5 copy, and that's because there have only been 2 graded a PSA 5.5 and only 60 have been graded higher. At number 7, we have the 1967 Topps Rod Carew rookie card in a PSA 8.5. This one sold on May 20th for $4,334. It was an auction. There were 27 bids, and this sale represents the current VCP average price for a PSA 8.5. The record high sale was $6,721 back in February of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. At number 6, we have this 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 1st for $4,350. It was an auction. There were 38 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $4,289, although the record high sale was $9,900 back in March of 2022 through REA. At number 5, we have this 1960 Topps Roger Maris in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 4th for $4,995. It was a buy it now and was quite a bit above the current VCP average price of $2,338, but this particular sale was not included in VCP's database. The record high sale, which this sale nearly reached, was $5,040 back in February of 2021 through Heritage. Now, in a PSA 9, there have only been 28 graded copies, and only 2 have received a PSA 10 grade. At number 4, we have this 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 6th for $5,559. It was an auction. There were 45 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $5,560, but this sale was not included in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $14,700 back in March of 2023 through eBay. Now, there was one other significant 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle sale in May, another PSA 8. This one sold on May 20th for $4,793. At number 3, we have this 1968 Roberto Clemente in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 15th for $5,750. It was a best offer and sold for a bit below the current VCP average price of $6,735. But again, this particular sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 9 was $8,333 back in May of last year through Memory Lane. In a PSA 9, there have been 73 graded copies, and there have been 5 graded a PSA 10. At number 2, we have this 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 12th for $7,500. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $6,784. Again, this sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $12,000 back in February of this year through Heritage. And the number one card from the 1960s is the 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie card in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 5th for $10,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $11,042, but the record high sale was $27,500 back in March of 2021 through PWCC. Now, there was one other Pete Rose rookie card sale in May, another PSA 8. This one sold on May 6th for $9,785. On to the cards from the 1970s. At number 10, we have the 1974 Topps Hank Aaron all-time home run king, card number 1 in the set in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 23rd for $3,206. It was an auction. There were 33 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $3,701. The record high sale was $6,064 back in January of this year through Memory Lane. Now, there have been 117 copies graded a PSA 9. There's only been one that has been graded a PSA 10. At number 9, we have this 1972 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 1st for $3,290. It was an auction. There were 31 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $3,971. The record high sale, though, was $6,000 back in September of 2022 through eBay. There have been 194 copies graded a PSA 9. Only 9 have received a PSA 10 grade. At number 8, we have the 1975 Topps George Brett rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 8th for $4,950. It was a best offer and sold a little bit below the current VCP average price of $5,121, but this particular sale was not in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 9 was $8,562 back in July of 2021 through Memory Lane. Now, there had been 325 copies graded a PSA 9, but only 11 have received a PSA 10 grade. There was one other significant 1975 Topps George Brett rookie card, also in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 5th for $4,100. At number 7, we have this 1970 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 1st for $6,101. It was an auction. There were 35 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $8,359. So this one sold for quite a bit of a discount compared to the current VCP average price. Now, the record high sale for a PSA 9 was $29,995 back in March of last year through eBay. Now, there have been 130 copies graded a PSA 9. Only 3 have been graded a PSA 10. At number 6, we have this 1975 Topps Carl Yastrzemski in a PSA 10. This one sold on May 12th for $6,701. It was an auction. There were 49 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 10 is $7,182, but the record high sale was $9,000 back in October of 2022 through Golden Auction. Now, there have been 312 graded a PSA 9, but this is one of only 18 that have been graded a PSA 10. And number 5, we have the 1971 Topps Thurman Munson card in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 26th for $7,400. It was an auction. There were 59 bids. Now, the current VCP average price for PSA 8 is only $5,093, so this sale would represent a new record high sale, but this sale was not included in VCP's database. The previous record high sale was $5,532 back in April of 2021 through eBay. Now, in a PSA 8, there have been 127 graded copies. There have only been 5 graded a PSA 9, and none have been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other sale of the 71 Topps Thurman Munson, also in a PSA 8, and also would have been a new record high sale, sold on May 26th for $7,000, but this sale as well was not in VCP's database. At number 4, we have the 1975 Topps Rookie Pitchers, not featuring any Hall of Famers, but it is in a PSA 10 grade. This one sold on May 1st for $7,877. It was an auction. There were 29 bids. The current VCP average price is this sale price and does represent a new record high sale for a PSA 10 copy. The previous high was only $460 back in February of 2017 through eBay. Now, while there have been 76 copies graded a PSA 9, this card here is one of only 5 that has been graded a PSA 10. And number 3, we have this 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 24th for $8,434. It was an auction. There were 49 bids. The current VCP average price for PSA 9 is $8,642. The record high sale, though, was $8,850 back in November of 2023 through eBay. Now, there had been 76 copies graded a PSA 9. Only 3 have been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other significant 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan sale in May, another PSA 9 copy. This one sold on May 26th for $8,182. On to number 2. We have the 1971 Topps Rod Carew in a PSA 9. Really hard to get a high grade from the 71 Topps set. This one sold on May 1st for $9,300. It was an auction. There were 28 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 9 is $8,649. This particular sale represents a new record high sale for a PSA 9 copy. The previous high was $8,100 back in February of 2021 through Heritage. Now, to show you how tough these grades are here for the 71 Topps card, there have only been 16 of the Rod Carew cards graded a PSA 9, and none have been graded a PSA 10. On to number 1. We have this 1978 Topps rookie card of Paul Molitor and Alan Trammell in a PSA 10. I know these cards here, this particular dual Hall of Fame rookie card, is really hard to get in high grade. This one sold on May 23rd for $25,100. It was an auction. There were 58 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 10 is $22,840. However, the record high sale was $66,000 back in January of last year through PWCC. Now, there have been 447 copies graded a PSA 9, but this one here is one of only 30 that has been graded a PSA 10. Well, there you go. The top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s for May 2024. Would love to know in the comments what you think about the cards that made the top 10 list. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.